Hello Excursion friends, Excursion 5 Bimini top in process here. What I have is, if you notice, these are poles from a canopy set from like one of those outdoor screens if you're going to go camping. It usually just has a top on it, and then it has these poles that you bend like this, and then it creates this kind of canopy system. Well, because this does not angle on a 45, it doesn't actually work that way as a canopy unless you've got a friend with a pipe bender that can give you exactly what you're looking for. So instead, I'm going to use it in this way because it allows me to fold the system right up when I'm done without having to take apart any CV or PVC corners. And it also allows me the strength of metal versus of plastic. So let me just give you a quick rundown of what I'm doing. I have pre-marked these pieces. So here's this one, and I'm cutting with one of these right here. If you've ever seen one of these, some people call it a saw because it vibrates. This actually is safe to touch, if you can believe that, but it'll cut right through metal. This is a special metal bit on the end of one, and what I'm doing is just sticking it straight on there and cutting it off. And then this piece here that that holds the end of the pipe in, I'm actually joining it with the other end of another one of those. So then in the end, what I have is a 5-foot wide piece, which is exactly right for the canvas and for the fishing pole holders on the side of the Excursion 5. And when I fold these in like this, I'll be able to have a complete folding system. So all I have to do is slip it out and then fold it up. I'll show it to you when we get it sewed, and then also when we get it installed on there. Okay, so we have the Bimini top done. You notice I don't have the floor in it or any of the other accessories like that, but I wanted to show you just what we have going here with the top. So this is the poles from a canopy system that you would take camping, like one of those screen porches. With the exception of the center poles, I used just the simple PVC poles with these ends on it like this that you can just find at Home Depot. These still need to get some bolts through it right here so that it'll hold together nicely, and then I'll bolt it here so that the top doesn't slip off at all, but then I won't bolt it here because the gravity itself will always be pulling this down so that it won't lift up and off. And of course, if I had problems with that, then I could just do a bolt with a wing nut on it there. But back here, you're going to see that what we did was we went to Joann Fabrics and we got nylon thread, because of course cotton thread will rot as it gets wet, which is not what we want. It'll pop apart a lot easier. So this is an exterior canvas top with exterior thread. It's just straight nylon in the thickest gauge you can get it. And if you have a sewing machine and you're going to do it yourself, you can see this is almost shiny underneath because it's waterproof. This whole thing is like plastic and canvas mixed together. But the thread that you get is, or the needle that you get to run it, if you're going to sew it yourself, is a 16, which is a really heavy gauge needle. It's probably about $2.50, so it's not much money. And then the thread, I want to say, was about another $2.50. I know we only spent $5 today. But the cool thing is that when we unhook these, we're able to just fold this straight in. Then we'll be able to set the top down and just roll it up, and we'll have a 5-foot long real thin bundle of pipes and then the canvas, and then we'll just have these poles separate. Everything else folds real nicely. Now you're going to notice that that's a pretty tall top on this boat. I might actually take that center stack down a little bit. I like the headroom when I'm sitting and when we're standing up and things, but the higher your Bimini top, the more sun that you're actually going to get inside. The lower the Bimini top, the more of an angle it'll take to actually get sun in your boat. So I need to reduce that center height a little bit. These on the ends are 4 feet each, and then in the center here is 5 feet. So that's what you're looking at. That's kind of the whole thing. That's our Bimini top that everybody was asking about, that runs the full length of the boat. And that fabric, I believe we got at Joann Fabrics. It is just 3 yards of 5-foot wide outdoor canvas, and if you notice, it actually matches the boat perfectly. And so do the straps. I got those straps at Home Depot for $10, and they are really awesome. How those work, if you have not gotten this kind, they're not the kind that have the binders that you have to crank. These just have a simple push button when you want to loosen it, and then they pull when you want to tighten it, and it works really well. So these straps match really nice. It's a real good system. The only thing I will say is back here, be really smart. Do not let these hang with your motor in the water. You need to tie these up. Tie them up here so that there's no extra slack. Hey friends, one more thing I wanted to mention. You see the way that this plastic collar works for this to be able to fold in. It's just a simple pivot point on the screw here, and then this just swings in because it's open here. If you don't want to take the time to go for it with you know, a tent canopy like that, you really could possibly try to do that same thing here. If you cut out this front part of this elbow and you ran just a good old-fashioned bolt and nut right through there, and you don't tighten it too much, as long as you cut from the halfway point forward, you should be able to swing that whole thing right in, so you can actually make your own swinging system. Now the reason that I didn't want to do it that way myself was because the poles being made of metal was real attractive to me. I wanted to have that strength, whereas PVC is a lot more floppy, as you can tell. So still worth a shot though. If you can't come across something like this, then you definitely have some options. If you're going to be putting holes in through the metal at all at any point, like I did here, like I put this collar around this smaller one. This tube actually runs all the way down to the bottom down in there, and then I put this larger one over it, partly to add strength and partly to shore up some of the space here, which I have some clear plastic tubing that's soft that I'm going to put over the rest. But I did run this screw through it to hold it in place and to make this the height that I wanted it. This is just a self-tapping screw, and what that means is that with a drill you're able to just run that in without pre-drilling or anything like that. So there you have it. Hope that was helpful.